So picking up where we left off, Moses was leading God's people out of Egypt, and he was leading them into the wilderness. He was taking them back to the place that God had promised to give to Abraham's descendants. And so they came to a place called Sinai, and the people made camp around the base of this mountain that was there. And Moses went up on the mountain to talk to God. Well, God told Moses, "Go back and tell the people, now you have seen my power. You have seen how I chose you and I rescued you from Egypt. And if you will keep the covenant that I am about to make with you, you will be my most treasured possession of all the people on earth." So Moses went and told the people what God had said, and they said, "We will do everything that the Lord tells us to do." So Moses went back up on the mountain to get those instructions. But before he went, he warned the people, "Do not come up on the mountain. In fact, don't even touch the base of the mountain. If you do, you will die." So the people gathered there, and they saw as God came down on the mountain like fire, and it was filled with smoke. The whole entire mountain shook. And God spoke to Moses from the top of the mountain and said, "Come up here." And so Moses went. And God met with Moses, and this time he gave him instructions and laws for how the people were supposed to live. The first 10 of them, we call the 10 Commandments. And these were instructions on how the people were supposed to live in right relationship with God and how they could live in right relationship with each other. So for how to live with God, he told them, don't worship any other gods, only me. Don't make idols. And for how to live with each other, it was things like don't steal from each other, don't lie, don't kill one another, and don't even want what another person has. Well, these laws were so foundational and important that God wrote them on 2 stone tablets himself. And then God told Moses about his plan to live among the people. This is how he would do it. Moses was supposed to build a special type of sanctuary called the Tabernacle. And God gave exact, precise instructions on exactly how to build that tabernacle, right down to the utensils that were to be used and the clothing that was supposed to be worn by the priests. The job of those priests was to offer sacrifices on behalf of the people to cover their sins. God gave the priests everything that they needed, but the one thing he didn't give them was a chair, because their work was never finished. There was no beast of the field that could ever take away fully the sins of God's image bearers. Well, it took about 9 months for Moses to gather all of the things that he needed and to get the craftsmen in place and to do everything exactly the way that God had said to do it. But when it was finished, God's glory came down on the tabernacle and filled it like a cloud. Whenever that cloud would lift, God's people would set out and they would travel until the cloud settled again. If the cloud didn't lift, then the people would stay put. And it was in that way that God made his dwelling among his people. And that is the 6th story of Christmas.